So we have a number of weights here. So you can see we have a 5 kg weight, a 2 kg weight, and a 1 kg weight. Now, this 1 kg weight is 1 kilogram, and 1 kilogram means that this weighs, in terms of grams, 1,000 grams. Now this weight here is 2 kg, 2 kilograms, and this weighs 2,000 grams or 2 kg. And this weight is 5 kilograms or 5,000 grams. Okay? So 1 kilogram has 1,000 grams, is equal to 1,000 grams. And you can see 2 kilograms, 2,000 grams, 5 kilograms, 5,000 grams. So we have grams and kilograms, and also we're going to see one more unit we can use to weigh things. So we have our gram, okay, our kilogram, and then our ton, okay. So you've probably seen, well, you worked yesterday on grams and kilograms, and then a ton is another thing altogether. It's 1,000 of these. So we have a gram, and then 1,000 of them is a kilogram, and 1,000 of them is a ton. Now, to weigh your pen, or the lid of your pen, the top of your pen, you can put it on a weigh scales, okay? And would you be measuring this, do you think, in grams, kilograms, or tons? Probably in grams. Now, if you were to put it on this scale here, so we see there are tiny integers here, and they're probably a bit too small to pick. The weight of this is too small to be picked up here, so maybe a digital scales, and it would have to be a sensitive digital scales to pick up the weight of such an item. Now, a bag of sugar, we'll say a full bag of sugar. This one isn't quite full, I'd say, but if you had a full bag of sugar, and I think on the packaging it gives it away, it'll be measured as 1 kilogram, okay? So on this weighing scales here, this is a kitchen scales, and you'd use this for baking a lot. So can you see where 1 kilogram is in this scale? You can see, yep, there's 5 kilograms around this scale. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay? And in between we have our grams, okay? And they are actually done out in 200 gram intervals. So we have 200, 400, 600, 800, and there's your kilogram, okay? So it would be very difficult to weigh 1 gram on this, but it would be very clear to weigh 1,000 grams. An elephant then. Now, if you were to go measuring an elephant in grams, you would be able to do it, of course, but that would mean you'd have very many grams, okay? Then you could measure him in kilograms too, and that would be absolutely fine, but he weighs so many kilograms, we can actually look at an elephant in terms of tons, okay? Now, would you put an elephant on top of your kitchen weigh scales? I don't think so. It wouldn't fare very well. I don't think you'd be able to use it again after having weighed the elephant on top of it. Okay, so we need to use different instruments to measure large weights like that. Okay, so that's just to give you a feel for the different units that we use. So we have grams for measuring very light items. 1,000 grams then give you is a kilogram, and that's, you know, items like sugar and other baking items. Very often you might talk about them in terms of grams and kilograms. And if you're weighing people, very often we can use kilograms, and you can use grams as well. And then if you're weighing very heavy items like an elephant or a car or some other machinery, large things, we can talk about tons. and there's 1,000 kilograms in a ton. Okay. So in this picture here we have a huge dumper truck. Now, would you say it'd be easier to measure this in terms of grams, kilograms, or tons? Now, it is a huge machine, so we could talk about it in terms of grams. We could talk about it in terms of kilograms, no problem, but it's probably easier to measure it in tons. Okay. Now, a paperclip. Are you going to measure a paperclip in grams, kilograms, or tons? Now, you could do it in tons. It'd be a very, 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 very small fraction of a ton. You could do it in kilograms. It would still be a really small fraction of a kilogram, but most likely you'd measure it in grams. Okay. Now, an aeroplane. Unfortunately, none of us will be going in one of these for a while, but if we were to weigh one, what scale would we use? Grams, kilograms, or tons? Again, we could use any of them. We could use grams, we could use kilograms, we could use tons, but it would probably be best to use tons. Now, this baby here, do you think, now again, we can measure them in any one. We can measure his weight in grams, kilograms, or tons, but which should be most effective? Kilograms. Okay. Next one, the bike. Would you measure the bike in grams, kilograms, or tons? Now, if it was a really, really sophisticated special bike for the Tour de France, maybe you would be measuring it in grams, but most bikes that we'd be using, you could measure them in kilograms. Okay, the biscuits, the less the better. Okay. Would we be looking at these in terms of grams, kilograms, or tons? Hopefully not tons anyway. Hopefully not kilograms either. Grams would be best. Okay, so each biscuit weighs a few grams. Now, if you go around the house and you have a look at a few different items and you try and identify, would it be best to weigh them in grams, kilograms, or tons? Now, you might see outside in the driveway there's a car. Would it be best to measure that in kilograms, grams, or tons? Maybe you have a television. Would it be best to weigh that in grams, kilograms, or tons? There could be a slice of bread in the kitchen. Would it be best to weigh that in grams, kilograms, or tons? So just try and see which scale would be best to weigh them. Alright? Now, just going back to our three different scales again, are grams, kilograms, and tons. We're going to estimate, we're going to be given two weights and just try and estimate what weight these items would be. Okay, so let's go on to our first one. So the biscuits. Do you think they're going to be 15 grams or 150 grams? Which one do you think they'd be? Maybe 15? Yes, it'd be more likely that these be 15 than 150. Next one, the paperclip. Is it more likely to weigh a half a gram or 12 grams? Think back now, you picked up a 2-cent coin and that weighed 2 grams. Do you think this weighs more or less than a 2-cent coin? I'd say it probably weighs less, so a half a gram would be closer to the mark. Now, the baby. So when you held a bag of sugar, you found it weighed 1 kilogram. Would the baby weigh 300 of them or 3? More likely 3. The bike, would it be 86 or 16? Maybe 16, although that's very heavy for a bike. And then we see this truck here. Now, is it 10 tons or 99 tons? So probably 10. And the last one, the airplane, would it be 3 tons or 300? More likely 300. Okay, so best of luck with all those boys and enjoy finding different weights around the house.